I'm Kenny Bruce, and I'm joined today by Mike Hembree for this week's Scene Daily discussion. Well, Mike, we just got back from Daytona. Teams are headed out to California for the race this week. We learned some things from the Daytona 500. First of all, that NASCAR wasn't going to finish the race with the rain coming down. We also learned a little bit about maybe Matt Kenseth. You know, some people are saying that that might be the team to watch this year.
Could be. You know, I think the big thing about Matt's win in Daytona was, you know, he's winless last season.
Right.
It's almost like you needed some kind of dam breaker to get him back on track. You know, and this might have been it. I mean, he was, particularly for Matt Kenseth, he was exceptionally emotional at Daytona. Matt almost never shows any emotion. So, you know, he may go the rest of the year and not win another race, but that wouldn't surprise me if he wins, you know, 4, 5, or 6. That's just kind of the way that team is. Matt is sort of like a wolf behind a Douglas fir in the Rocky Mountains. You don't see him until it's too late. And there he is, and he wins the race, and you know, what happens next week, we'll find out. But could be a big year.
Yeah, you know, you talk about winning races, and you mentioned that last year, you know, he was one of a handful of drivers that didn't win a race. You know, the one thing that Matt has going for him is, even though he's had a couple of seasons where he's had 1 or 2 wins, he's had some really big seasons where he's had 5 wins before, he's had 4 wins before. But I think last year, just the whole process of the year previous to that, of Robbie Reiser, who was his crew chief for so long, stepping out, getting a new crew chief in there, trying to get accustomed to that, I think that kind of, it didn't really set the team back, but it took them a while to gel, and I don't think they were ever really comfortable with their position. I think they were getting better at the end of the year, you know, as evidence of the fact that they made the chase. But if you remember, also with the Roush Fenway organization, a couple of years before that, when Carl Edwards had ran so well, they made some crew chief changes. Bob Osborne left his team, and Carl struggled. When they reunited, all of a sudden Carl and those guys seemed to get the magic back. Now Matt has a new crew chief this year, and Drew Blickensderfer, one of the hardest names to pronounce in NASCAR Sprint Cup racing. Drew got his first start as a crew chief in the Cup Series, got his first win. You know, is that going to be what pushes Matt back up to the top level?
You know, there were some suggestions at Daytona that Blickensderfer should retire undefeated. You know, 1 for 1, not too bad. The Kenseth Robbie Reiser pairing was obviously exceptionally workable.
Right.
Remains to be seen how this one's going to work long term. But you know, all the signs are positive. I think the biggest challenge for Matt, oddly enough, is going to be he is not Carl Edwards, and Carl Edwards is at Roush Fenway also. And you know, I think it's safe to say at the moment anyway, Edwards has the best position in that group. So it remains to be seen, but I think the next couple of races are going to tell us a lot. California and Vegas, intermediate tracks. We're going to know in a hurry who's on and who's not in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I think it's too early to crown Matt the champion after only 1 race, but I think it's clear that those guys are off to a strong start. Typically, you know, if you start strong, it's easy to carry that momentum into the next couple of weeks. So he's definitely going to be one of the guys, and that's going to be one of the teams we need to keep an eye on going forward. So that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us for this Scene Daily discussion, and we hope to see you next week.